what your silence really means. It is no longer about conversations, it is about reflection. She reflects on her behavior, her words. Her effect, she begins to feel the weight of things she wants to lightly. And in that space of reflection, she begins to question the strength of the bond you share. What is the most powerful about this is that it is not something you have to force. You're not trying to manipulate her into feeling anything. You're simply allowing her space that speaks louder than any message. And in that space, her heart and mind start having conversations she never expected. Conversations about loss, value, attraction, and vulnerability. Your silence becomes a trigger not of pain, but of realization. Realization about how much you mattered, or how much she overlooked. And that realization changes the dynamic forever. Y en ese silencio, es donde su mente comienza a reconstruir la historia. Pero esta vez, desde la duda y no desde la certeza. When you stop contacting a woman, she may not react immediately, but over time. Something inside her begins to shift. The space you've created forces her to confront your absence, and with that, a quiet agency begins to grow. Even if she doesn't send a direct message, she will often begin to act in subtle ways to pull your attention back. These moves may not seem obvious on the surface, that they are calculated, emotional reactions to your silence. She wants to feel seen again, desired again, validated again, without necessarily having to chase you openly. So instead, she communicates through hints, signs, and emotional nudges. One of the first things she may do is increase her visibility. Suddenly, she is more active on social media. She posts stories more often, shares pictures with captions that feel intentionally deep, flirty, or mysterious. She might even post something that she knows would remind you of a moment you both shared. It isn't a coincidence, it's a signal. A silent way of saying, I'm still here, are you watching? She might not say a word to you directly, but she wants to spark your curiosity. She wants you to wonder, just like she has been wondering about you. Sometimes, she may find reasons to be near your world again. She may reconnect with mutual friends, show up at places you frequent, or comment on posts from people close to you. None of it is loud or aggressive, but it is intentional. She is trying to reopen a door without knocking. And if you pay attention, these behaviors are rooted in one thing: the need to establish connection without risking rejection. She wants to pull you back in, but she wants you to come willingly. She needs confirmation that your distance was permanent, that she still holds some space in your mind. There are moments when she may even break the silence herself, though rarely in a way that makes her feel exposed. It could be a casual message, a funny meme, a meme she brings up out of nowhere. These gestures are not as random as they appear. They are her way of testing the waters, trying to see if the door is still open, trying to gauge your energy. And if you respond too eagerly, she may pull back again to regain her emotional balance. Because it is not just about talking to you, it is about restoring the dynamic where she feels desired, not desperate. At the times, she won't message at all, but her behavior will shift in a way that tries to provoke a reaction. She might start dressing differently, changing her appearance, or involving herself in new activities, especially once you notice. She knows the power of presence, and now that she has felt your absence, she is trying to reset herself in your emotional space. Her moves are subtle, even silent, but they are deliberate. They are born from the realization that something valuable might be slipping away. What is important to understand is that these behaviors are emotional strategies. She is trying to regain control, without admitting she lost it. She wants to feel that she still matters to you, that your silence wasn't indifference, but perhaps confusion or hesitation. She is hoping that if she moves just right, you will take the next step. That whether you do or don't, the truth is she is already reacting. And in that reaction, she is revealing far more than her words ever could. Cuando dejas de contactar a una mujer, no solo se siente tu ausencia, se produce una transformación en su comportamiento que muchas veces revela lo que antes permanecía oculto. Es fácil fingir cuando alguien está presente todo el tiempo, cuando los mensajes llegan a diario, cuando hay constante validación. Pero cuando esa atención desaparece, lo que emerge no es la imagen que ella mostraba, sino la verdad que estaba detrás de esa imagen. Su conducta comienza a cambiar, y ese cambio no es casual. Es una respuesta emocional que no puede controlar por completo porque ha perdido el equilibrio que tú, con tu presencia, le proporcionabas. A veces ese cambio se manifiesta como una explosión de orgullo. Puede volverse distante, arrogante, frío o incluso mostrar una falsa indiferencia. Empieza a actuar como si tu ausencia no le afectara en absoluto, como si estuviera mejor sin ti. Pero detrás de ese escudo emocional, su mente está en guerra. Lo que aparenta seguridad es muchas veces solo una defensa. Si una mujer realmente no te valoraba, entonces su cambio será mínimo o incluso inexistente. Pero si tú tenías un lugar en su mundo, aunque ella no lo mostrara abiertamente, su actitud comenzará a delatar lo que realmente siente. También puede volverse más emocional, más impulsiva. Puede publicar indirectas, frases cargadas de doble sentido, canciones con mensajes escondidos. Comenzará a actuar de formas que buscan una reacción de tu parte. Aunque no lo admita, cada pequeño gesto, cada comentario, cada acción empieza a tener un propósito. Ya no se trata solo de vivir su vida. Ahora hay una narrativa oculta que gira en torno a ti. La distancia que creaste no solo afecta su rutina, afecta su forma de pensar, de sentir, de actuar. Su comportamiento se vuelve una especie de confesión sin palabras. En otras ocasiones, su actitud se vuelve más dulce, más amable, más abierta. Comienza a mostrar una versión de sí misma que quizá nunca habías visto. Empieza a cuidar los detalles, a ser más considerada, incluso a demostrar vulnerabilidad. Este tipo de cambio suele aparecer cuando el miedo a perderte se vuelve más fuerte que el orgullo. Cuando entiende que tu silencio no es un juego, sino una elección. Entonces comienza a mostrar la parte más honesta de su ser, y esa versión, aunque más real, también es una señal clara, ha sido tocada emocionalmente por tu ausencia. Lo importante es que estos cambios no ocurren por casualidad, son una consecuencia directa del silencio. Tú no dijiste nada, no hiciste ningún movimiento, pero obligaste a que la verdad saliera a la superficie, porque cuando ya no hay atención constante, ya no hay un escenario para actuar. Y es entonces, cuando ella se enfrenta a sí misma, a sus emociones reales, a lo que siente de verdad por ti. Ya no está reaccionando a tus palabras, está reaccionando a tu vacío. Y ese vacío es tan poderoso que desarma cualquier fachada. Cada reacción que tiene, cada transformación que muestra, te está diciendo algo que antes no se atrevía a decir. Ya sea orgullo, nostalgia, ternura o frialdad, su comportamiento se vuelve un lenguaje en sí mismo. Un lenguaje que no necesita palabras, pero que dice más que cualquier conversación. Porque lo que ella hace cuando tú desapareces es exactamente lo que revela cuánto significas para ella. Cuando un hombre se aleja, el silencio grita más fuerte que cualquier palabra. Para muchos, cortar la comunicación con una mujer parece un riesgo, pero en realidad puede ser el movimiento más poderoso y revelador. Porque cuando ya no estás disponible, cuando no respondes como antes, algo muy profundo comienza a cambiar dentro de ella. Ya no eres una opción segura. Ya no eres la constante. De repente, se enfrenta a la posibilidad de perderte y es ahí donde ocurre la verdadera magia o la verdadera revelación. Ella puede aparentar calma, pero su mente está girando. ¿Por qué no me escribe? ¿Qué hice? ¿Con quién está? Ese silencio no solo crea dudas, sino que también activa emociones intensas que antes estaban dormidas. Algunas mujeres reaccionarán con orgullo, otras con interés renovado, pero todas, sin excepción, mostrarán su verdad, porque cuando un hombre se retira, es cuando una mujer realmente muestra lo que siente. Prepárate, porque cuando dejas de contactarla, ella hará cosas que nunca esperaste. When a man goes silent, it does just disappear into thin air. That silence echoes deeply in a woman's emotional wealth. You see, women are emotionally wired. Their minds are constantly processing, feeling, and interpreting. When a man pulls away and stops reaching out, it sends a signal. Not necessarily a message of rejection, but a message that triggers her internal emotional radar. She starts to notice a change in rhythm. Where there was once a consistency, now there is a void. And that void begins to speak louder than any message you could have sent. In the absence of your contact, she is forced to reflect. She makes like it doesn't bother her posting selfies. Acting unbothered, even pretending she's moved on, but behind that surface, her mind is racing. Why did he stop texting me? Is he losing interest? Is there someone else? These questions don't arise from logic. They arise from the emotional center of the female psyche. Your silence becomes a mirror she cannot ignore. It reflects her fears, her desires, and her insecurities. And whether she admits it or not, it is something powerful in her. This emotional reaction is not accidental. It is how attraction and emotional attachment work. Women are naturally more attuned to emotional shifts than verbal expressions. They can read energy, sense withdrawal, and feel absence on a much deeper level than many men realize. When you stop contacting her, she begins to feel the imbalance. She starts questioning what you're rethinking, what you're refeeling, what your next move might be. She becomes emotionally curious, sometimes even emotionally agitated. That curiosity can lead to obsession, or clarity, or regret, and this doesn't mean she come running back instantly. But she will definitely feel it. She will think about it. Even if she acts cold or uninterested on the outside, there is a fire inside her that is being lit. she might try to distract herself or use silence as a defense mechanism. But the reality is, your silence challenged her expectations. She thought she had your attention guaranteed. She thought you'd always respond, always initiate. Now she is faced with the unexpected. And emotional systems are triggered because a pattern has been disrupted. Some women react by initiating contact. Others go quiet while secretly hoping you reach out. But all of them, in their own way, start experiencing your absence. This is why silence, when used with calm strength and not as a game, can be so powerful. It activates emotional dynamics that words often can't reach. It makes her confront something real, the possibility that she isn't as important to you as she thought, or the realization that she actually cared more than she admitted. Either way, the silence has done its work. Y en ese momento, su mente ya no busca solamente atención. Busca reconexión emocional porque el silencio ha dejado de ser vacío, y se ha convertido en una presencia que ella no puede ignorar. Distance, whether physical or emotional, as a way of revealing the truth about any connection. When you pull back and stop contacting her, you're not just stepping away, you shifting the balance of that relationship. At first, she might not understand what is happening. She may think you're just busy, distracted, or going through something. But as the hours tend to days, and the days stretch longer, she begins to realize that something has changed. That space you've created isn't just a pause, it becomes a question mark, a challenge. Amire, some women will feel a sudden surge of anxiety. Others will attempt to downplay it and distract themselves with friends, social media, or other men. But regardless of how they react and as something deeper is happening inside. She is starting to ask herself questions she might not have asked before. Did it mean as much to him as he thought? Was he really into me? Did I take him for granted? And then the real fear kicks in. Is he moving on? This fear doesn't come from logic, it comes from emotion, unfiltered emotion that thrives in the unknown. The distance does something powerful, it creates emotional tension. The tension either pulls two people closer or reveals that one of them was never really invested to begin with. If a woman is genuinely interested in you, the distance will create longing. She start to crave the connection she once had with you. She replay memes, reread messages, check your online activity, and look for signs that you're still thinking about her. But if she was never truly invested, then the distance will simply reveal that she was only there for the attention, the validation, or the convenience. This is the beauty of silence and space. It doesn't need to speak because it forces clarity. No pressure, no chasing, no explaining. Just pure, honest distance. And through that distance, she has no choice but to confront her own feelings. It becomes painfully obvious whether she misses your presence or just misses being pursued, whether she truly valued your connection or was merely entertained by it, and most importantly, whether she sees you as someone worth chasing, or someone easily replaced. In some cases, the woman might begin to reach out subtly at first, a just checking-in message, a reaction to your story, a random song, or mean she knows will catch your attention. These little gestures are not accidental. They rage her way up close in the gap you created. She might not say, I miss you, but her actions begin to speak. And if she doesn't reach out at all, that too is your answer. That silence from her end might sting. But it is the truth laid bare without the confusion, without the performance. Distance is not about manipulation. It is not a tactic. It is a revelation. It shows you WHOS really there for you when you're no longer constantly available. It gives her the space to miss you or the space to forget you. But either way, it gives you the clarity you need. Because sometimes, when you're always present, she doesn't get the chance to evaluate your worth. That when you step back, she has to face the possibility of losing you, and in that space, her real emotions surface when a man goes silent and stops contacting a woman. Something begins to shift inside her. The consistency she once felt to whether she valued it or not suddenly disappears. That shift forces her to face a reality she may have been avoiding. One of the first things that happens is that she begins to question her own value in your life. She may have seemed confident before, maybe even acted like she didn't need your attention, but once you withdraw, those quiet moments start to echo through her mind. The absence of your presence, your messages, your voice, it all becomes impossible to ignore. She starts to wonder why, not from a logical perspective, but from an emotional place that demands senses her mind can't easily give. This questioning doesn't always look like sadness or regret. Sometimes it shows a past irritation. She might feel confused. What changed? Why is he texting me? Was he not good enough? And it is in that confusion that emotional conflict starts to build. She starts recalling moments, things you said, things she did or didn't do. She begins to analyze every conversation. Every sign she might have missed. The mind begins to obsess over the what ifs and the maybes, not because she wants to, but because the emotional brain hates uncertainty. And your silence has created the perfect environment for uncertainty to grow. In her effort to regain clarity. She might try to convince herself that she doesn't care. She just focus on being busy, maybe talk to other people. Maybe even post pictures or stories designed to make you notice her. But all of these behaviors stem from one internal struggle. She wants to understand where she stands with you. Because if you once gave her attention, affection, presence, and now you've taken it away, her emotional well no longer feels secure. And security is everything for someone emotionally invested as the days go by. She might even begin to doubt herself. Was it too much? Was it not enough? These are the kinds of questions that dig deep into her sense of self-worth. And whether she admits it or not. These questions aren't really about you, they're about how she sees herself through your eyes. Your silence forces her to see the gap between how she wants to be perceived and how she fears she actually was. That gap can either lead to personal growth or emotional distress, depending